Hello, what is up guys? Eman from Peso Smart PH here. Welcome sa panibagong episode. Shoutout din sa mga podcast listeners natin. I appreciate you all. Today, we're gonna discuss yung mga companies na nagbigay ng dividends back in 2020 and i-determine natin kung magbibigay ba sila ng dividends this coming 2021. So, yung determining factor na gagamitin natin dito is yung financial performance sila ng 2020. So, let's jump right into it. Ngayon, ibibigay ko sa inyo yung list ng mga companies na nagbigay ng dividends last year and yung mga ex-dates na binigay nila is March. So, yung first one is si MBT, Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company, Ayala Land Incorporated, Premium Leisure Corp, meron tayo niyan, Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, Ayala Land Corporation, this is a preferred stock. So, yung mga preferred stock, by the way, for sure, pagka hindi sila na recall, basically, magbibigay pa rin sila ng dividends this coming year. And usually, yung pagbibigay nila ng dividends is every quarter. So, that's 4 times a year. Belle Corporation, meron din tayo yan. Semirara Mining and Power Corporation, meron din tayong holdings yan. Phinma Corporation, Philex Mining Corporation. 4 na slides yun na-include dito pa lang sa list ng mga companies na nagbigay ng dividends last year, March 2020. Last one is BDO Unibank for this slide. Next one, Sun Life Financial. Then Bloomberry Resorts Corporation. And then, maraming mga San Miguel Corporation na preferred stock. So, SMC2C, SMC2D, SMC2E, SMC2F, SMC2G, SMC2H, SMC2I, and SMCP1. So, medyo maraming preferred stock si San Miguel Corporation, no? Previously, meron akong holdings with SMC2C. Siya kasi may pinakamataas na dividend yield among all of these preferred stocks coming from San Miguel. But I already sold it because I think they will recall it sometime soon, but I may be wrong. But yeah, that's just my decision. And I think mas maganda mag-hold for now ng mga common stocks. And according na rin kay Warren Buffett and kay Ben Graham, mas gusto nila yung mga common stocks kasi nga merong potential na tumaas yung capital mo or mag-gain yung capital mo. Yung mga preferred stocks kasi hindi masyado tumataas yung prices. So, medyo stagnant lang siya. Although solid naman yung kanilang binibigay na dividend yield every single year, I realized na mas maganda pa rin yung mga common stocks kasi comparable na rin naman yung mga yield na binibigay ng mga magagandang dividend paying common stocks compared to the preferred stocks, and then meron pang potential na mag-shoot up yung prices. Next one is PLDT. Okay, moving on to the third slide, DMC. Meron tayo niyan. Isa sa mga pinakamalagong investments sa PSE. Aboitiz Power Corporation. Meron din tayo niyan. Aboitiz Equity Ventures Incorporated. This one is another preferred stock galing naman kay Del Monte Pacific Limited. DMPA1 and DMPA2. P-Corp Petron Corporation. Nickel Asia Corporation. Century Properties Group Incorporated is another preferred stock. DDPR, Double Dragon Properties Corporation, preferred stock din. And MER, Meralco Electric Company. GSMI, Ginebra San Miguel Incorporated. Okay, moving on to the last one. Welcome Depot Incorporated. ICT, International Container Terminal Services Incorporated. URC, Universal Romida Corporation. Axelum Resources Corporation. Then this one, preferred stock, GTPPA, GT Capital Holdings Incorporated, and GTPPB. ANSA, Soriano Corporation. Maxis Group Incorporated, meron din tayong holdings with Maxis. CLI, meron din tayo yan, Cebu Landmasters Incorporated. And last but not the least is SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Dahil nabigay ko na sa inyo yung list ng mga nagbigay ng dividends last year, March, titingnan natin ngayon, i-assess natin kung magbibigay ba sila ulit ng dividends this coming 2021, March din. And as I've said earlier, mga preferred stocks, most likely magbibigay pa rin sila ng dividends this coming year walang palya yan every quarter as long as hindi pa nare-recall yung mga preferred stocks nyo. Okay, first one, MBT, Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company. So, ito yung kanilang financial performance. Yun yung una natin titingnan for every company. And i-assess natin kumita ba sila or hindi. Well, dito, obviously, yung titingnan lang natin is yung current year to date. So, nasa 17 before taxes. This is in millions. Bali, 11.2 billion pesos yung kinita nila for the 3 quarters of 2020. So, most likely, magbibigay sila ng dividends. And ayun na nga, magbibigay sila ng dividends this 2021 dahil kumita din sila ng maganda last year. So magbibigay sila ng isang regular 1 peso per share and then 3 pesos special. So March 2 yung ex-date ng stocks na ito para sa kanilang dividends. Next one is si Ayala Land Incorporated. So last year net income after taxes is 7.5 billion pesos. So most likely magbibigay din sila ng dividends. And ayun, nag-announce na sila ng dividends. No? Yung ex-date for this year is March 5. Magbibigay sila ng 13 centavos per share na dividend sa kanilang mga shareholders. Next one is si PLC, Premium Leisure Corp. So last year is not a very good year for PLC. So yung net losses nila after taxes is 125 million pesos. So that is a big hit. Comparing it to 2019's performance for 3 quarters, 1.6 billion pesos yung kinita nila. So most likely hindi sila magbibigay ng dividends this year, and ito nga hindi pa sila nag-a-announce ng kanilang dividends since wala naman silang ibibigay. Next one is si MPI, Metro Pacific Investments Corporation. Last year, this in millions, so billions na to. After taxes, net income is 9.2 billion pesos. Although medyo down yung income nila, kumikita pa rin sila. So most likely, they will give out dividends. And they haven't announced it yet, but last year nag-announce sila at around March 9 yung ex-date ng kanilang mga dividends. That's the first payment. And then usually nagkakaroon ng second payment on August. Next one is si Belle Corporation. Last year, not really looking good because this is in thousands. So 2.5 billion yung kinita nila noong 2019 for 3 quarters. Comparing it to last year, although kumikita pa rin sila, so that's a good thing. 92 million pesos lang yung kinita nila. I'm guessing they will still give out dividends since kumita naman sila kahit papano. But I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel the dividend payments this coming year. And ayun, March 10 yung ex-date ng dividends last year. This year, wala pang na-announce. Next up is Semirara Mining and Power Corporation, SCC. Meron tayo niyan. Last year, medyo down din yung income nila but it's still net income. So, 2.8 billion pesos. Most likely, they will give out dividends. I hope so kasi medyo malaki din naman yung holdings ko with SCC. And it would hurt my portfolio if hindi ako mabigyan ng dividends itong si SEC this year. So March 10 yung ex-date last year. So hopefully mag-announce na sila very soon. Next one is Phinma Corporation. So yung kanilang net, this is net income in thousands, 132 million pesos for 2020. Hindi masyado, well, na half, no? Kasi 311 million pesos yung kinita nila noong 2019 for 3 quarters. So, I think they will still give out dividends. Siguro bawas lang, I believe. But it's really up to them, no? It's up to the board of directors kung it's in their best interest kung magbibigay sila ng dividends. But I think it's a 50-50 chance. For now, well, halos lahat naman siguro, lalo na kasi nga nagka-pandemic, di ba? So, lahat ng businesses is affected. But yeah, March 12 yung ex-date nila last year. So, yung mga Phinma Corporation holders yan, hopefully, they will announce some dividends kahit na siguro ma-half din, no? Kahit 20 centavos per share lang. That will still be a big difference and malaking tulong din yan sa mga nag-invest dito sa stock na ito. Moving on to the next one is Philex Mining Corporation. Last year, this is in thousands, 919 million pesos yung kinita nila. So, lumaki pa no compared to 2019, which was 438 million pesos lang. So, most likely, they will give out dividends this year. Next one is BDO Unibank Incorporated. Last year, medyo nakalhati din yung kanilang income, but it's still net income, 16.5 billion pesos, comparing it to 32.1 billion pesos back in 2019. So yes, I think they will still give dividends this year. Every quarter sila nagbibigay ng dividends, FYI. So that's very consistent. Dito sa screenshot na to, hindi lang nasama yung past 5 years kasi nga quarterly sila nagbibigay. So medyo disrupt na yung slide natin. So hindi na makikita lahat. But yeah, I think dating back 10 years, 15 years ago, consistent sila nagbibigay ng dividends, no? But the farthest that the data will go sa BPI trade is around 2016, 2015 lang din. Since yun nga, 4 times a year sila nagbibigay ng dividends every year. Sun Life Financial Incorporated. So this one is in millions. This is kind of confusing kasi I believe this is in US dollars. So if it's in millions, that's billions in US dollars, but I wouldn't believe that. Huh. But anyway, since it says that it's in US dollars, then mil equals millions, then I would assume that this is 1.9 billion US dollars. Huh, that is pretty big. Okay, so it's either 1.9 billion dollars or 1.9 million dollars. But yeah, okay. Bottom line is kumikita sila. So most likely they will give out dividends then this 2021. Oh, that is Canadian dollars. Okay, that makes sense. I think it's in billions yung kinita nila since it's in yun pala yung C, so that's Canadian dollars. Okay. Mas mababa naman yung valuation kahit papaano ng Canadian dollars compared to US dollars. Actually, nag-announce pala sila ng dividends. This is my bad. Yeah. Nag-announce sila ng dividends for this year, so medyo lampas na yung X-date. I'm really sorry about that. I'm not sure if I was able to include this sa mga dividend-paying stocks for Feb. Gumawa ako ng video about doon, so yeah, check out nyo lang dito sa link dito. Yan, dito sa corner. But yeah, it wouldn't really matter na kasi magwa-March na, so yun yung gagawa natin ng list na susunod, and hopefully yung PSE Edge complete na yung kanilang list before mag-end yung Feb kasi nga, you know, I release those videos, those episodes kapag mag-end na yung month para ready kayo, no, dun sa mga dividend paying stocks na pwede nyo bilhin for the coming month. Okay, move on na tayo with Bloomberry Resorts Corporation. So this one, so nakita ko na agad may parenthesis. So net loss yan, 5.8 billion pesos. So X to, guys, X. So hindi sila magbibigay ng dividends this year. It would be weird if magbigay sila ng dividends, no? Kasi hindi naman sila kumita sa nila pupulutin yung dividends na yun. Kasi usually, paano nag-work yung dividends? Kunyari, kumita sila ng 2020, okay yung kita nila. So, ibibigay nila yun, i-distribute nila yung kita na yun sa mga shareholders nila the next year. So, hindi yun, or siguro, late in the year nila ibibigay, no? Kunyari, kumita sila first half ng 2020 and then magbibigay sila ng special dividends ng December 2020 din. But yeah, usually how it works is kapag kumita sila the previous year, most likely this coming year magbibigay sila ng dividends. Anyway, let's move on. So yeah, hindi pa sila nag-a-announce. Puro special yung binibigay nilang dividends previously, but hindi siya consistent. The next one, PLDT. Well, itagaan mo na sa bato, magbibigay ng dividends. No? Isa to sa mga biggest companies here in the Philippines and tumaas pa yung kita nila this 2020. Medyo sa ulo ko na, no? I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, yung net income nila for 3 quarters ng 2020 is 19.9 billion pesos comparing it to 16 billion pesos nung 2019. So yes, they will give out dividends this year. Hindi pa lang na-announce, but yeah, sabi ko nga sa inyo, tagaan nyo na sa bato. Magbibigay ng dividends yan. And I would be very upset no pag hindi sila nagbigay ng dividends kasi lumaki yung kita nyo. So you gotta share it to the shareholders. Next up is si DMC. So medyo down yung income nila nung 2020. So I'm still believing that they will give dividends kasi yun nga, medyo mataas din yung holdings ko with them. So it would hurt me and my portfolio kapag hindi sila nagbigay ng dividends. Although kumita na naman ako kahit papano, no? I think mga 5K na yung capital gain ko, unrealized capital gain with DMC. But yung reason talaga kung ba't ko siya binili is consistent siya magbigay ng dividends. So kapag naputol yun this year, I might have to adjust my position and I might have to sell all of my shares with DMC at a very reasonable price, no? So kahit siguro mag-break even lang ako or kumita ng konti. So yeah, para hindi, natutulog yung pera. So 5.2 billion pesos yung kinita nila 2020, 3 quarters. 2019, that is 12.9 billion pesos. So malaking hit din itong si COVID para sa DMC last year. And then ito nga, March 18 sila nagbigay ng ex-date last year. So merong isang regular, merong isang special. Hopefully kahit regular lang, no, ibigay nila this year. Okay na sa akin yun. Moving on is si AP Aboitiz Power Corporation. Last year lumiit din, no, halos nakalahati yung kinita nila. 8.6 billion pesos net income. Then I think they will still give out dividends, although siguro bawas ng konti or retain lang, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think since kumikita naman sila, hindi pa nga na itatala, no, yung kanilang performance, financial performance for the fourth quarter of 2020, medyo matagal. So yeah, I think kapag lumabas yun, tataas palalo yung income nila. And yeah, they will announce the dividends in the next few days or in the next week. AEV, Aboitiz Equity Ventures Incorporated. So last year, halos nakalahati din yung kinita nila, 11.7 billion pesos. Comparing it to 21.5 billion pesos noong 2019. Then, March 17 sila nag-announce or nagbigay ng ex-date last year. So, hopefully, ganun din this year. Petron Corporation. So, hindi talaga ganun kaganda, no, sa mga companies na involved sa gasoline and natural gases and all that, energy. Yung pandemic. Since wala nga masyadong nagta-travel, no? So, walang bumibili ng gas for like air travel, for like ships and all that, for cars. So, bumaba lahat yung demand. That is why medyo down itong si Petron. Same with Shell. Shell yung meron kasi ako eh. So, kaya medyo sinusubaybayan ko rin itong industry na ito. But yeah, most likely they will not give dividends since medyo malaki yung hahabulin nila for this year. And yeah, 12.6 billion pesos yung lugi nila last year. That is a very big amount. But hopefully they can recover it soon. Then they announced the dividends ex-date, March 19, 2020. And this year, wag na lang tayong umasa. Next one is Nickel Asia Corporation. Last year, tumaas pa, no, yung net income nila, 3.1 billion pesos, comparing it to 2.6 billion pesos noong 2019. And yes, nagbigay sila ng isang regular noong March 24, 2020 and then special noong August. So, let's expect na mag-announce na rin sila na dividends this year. Meralco, ito. Kahit hindi ko pa tinitinan yung data, I believe na magbibigay sila ng dividends this year. So, hindi rin masyado pumapalya itong si Meralco. Although, nag-take din ng hit yung kitaan nila. 11.3 billion pesos na lang. Comparing it to 18.4 billion pesos. Since, yung malaking kumain ng kita nila, no? So, medyo na-slice off yung kita nila is because yung mga businesses is hindi nag-ooperate normally. So, yung mga biggest, electricity payers, yung may mga malaking bills, medyo na-halt yung operation nila. That is why yun, medyo bumabaling yung demand. So, although kumikita pa rin sila, syempre, yung mga tao naman isa sa bahay lang and nag-work from home. Ayun, but yeah, in any case, yung mga malaking businesses, hindi sila nag-ooperate normally. That's why nag-take ng hit yung income ni Meralco. I still believe that they will give out dividends, although siguro matatanggal na itong special, yung binigay nila 5.287. So kahit yung 5.1 lang, okay na yan, no, para sa mga stockholders itong si Meralco. So yeah, conclusion, magbibigay sila ng dividends this year. Ginebra San Miguel Incorporated. Ito, binenta ko na to last year. And if hindi nyo pa na-check out yung reasoning ko behind that, click nyo lang ito. Yan. May link dyan. Click nyo lang yan para mapanood yun. And kumita naman sila almost sa doble pa nga eh. So 2.2 billion pesos. So okay. Quick background lang kung bakit ko binenta yung GSMI. Binenta ko siya kasi medyo maganda na yung price. Sobrang tumaas na. And I think nag-peak na siya. That's why binenta ko. And maliit lang naman yung investment ko on this company. Nabigyan na rin ako ng dividends. I think isang beses or dalawa. But yeah. Anyway, this year magbibigay pa rin yan ng dividends. Consistent yan, although hindi siya lumalaki, no? That's why, isa pa yan sa reason kung ba't ko siya binenta. Stagnant lang siya. Although every quarter siya nagbibigay ng 25 centavos per share na dividends, hindi siya tumataas. So, parang hindi na apektuhan nyo yung binibigay nilang dividends based dun sa kinita nila. So, I don't want that. Mas okay na mag-hold ng isang company na, nag-adjust talaga yung dividends, bibigay ng special dividends kapag talaga nag-shoot up yung benta nila, yung kinikita nila. Next one is si Wilcon Depot Incorporated. So last year, 885 million pesos yung kinita nila. So they're a bit down. But I still think that they will give dividends this year. Although maraming special, since 2018. Yan palang yung mga binigay nilang dividends sa history nila. So, kahit siguro matagal yung special, maliit lang naman, So, kalahati lang naman yung special na binibigay nila, compared dun sa regular. So, okay lang kung magbigay sila ng regular sa mga stockholders sila. Next is ICT, International Container Terminal Services. So, yung current year-to-date nila, this is in US dollars in thousands. So, 210 million US dollars yung kinita nila for the 3 quarters of 2020. They're up ng 6 million dollars compared to 2019. So yeah, conclusion, magbibigay sila ng dividends this year. It's gonna be weird kung hindi. Consistent naman sila nagbibigay ng dividends the past 5 years. So I would be surprised if ma-miss sila yung dividend payments this year. Universal Robina Corporation. So yan, paborito natin yan, yung mga chichirya, yung mga gumagawa ng chichirya natin ng mga snacks. Up din sila, kahit papano. 8.1 billion pesos yung kinita nila. 3 quarters ng 2020. So, most likely, they will give out dividends then this year. So, usually, twice sila nagbibigay, So, isang March, either March or Feb. And then, later, second quarter ng taon, sila nagbibigay ulit. Next up is si Axelum Resources Corporation. Last year, medyo nangalahati din yung kanilang kitaan, 383 million pesos. But I still think that they will give out dividends. Actually, first time nila magbigay ng dividends last year. So, it would be good for them, Mas maraming ma-attract siguro na investors kung magbibigay sila ng dividends ulit this year. Right, tuloy-tuloy lang natin to. Soriano Corporation, medyo marami pa tayong i-discuss. Marami pa tayong cover. So, ito yung medyo weird, So, in 1,000 pesos. So, current year to date nila is 1.3 billion pesos in net losses. Comparing it to 1.6 billion pesos na kinita nila noong 2019. However, nakapag-announce na sila ng dividends this year. So, ayun. Medyo na-weirdoan ako dito. I'm not sure kung saan manggagaling yung dividends na binigay nila. Parang move lang ng Lotto, Kasi yung Lotto parang the past few years, hindi na sila kumikita. But nagbibigay sila ng dividends and then sobrang taas ng yield. So, medyo weird. I'm not sure kung gusto lang nilang mag-attract palalo ng mga investors, ng mga stocks para siguro mag-shoot up ng konting prices. But, yeah. I'm not sure kung ano yung reasoning behind this. Kasi nga, usually, di ba? Yung dividends is profit sharing yan. So, anong i-share mo na profit kung hindi ka naman kumita? Kasi, a bit weird. But, before, I think, nagawin ko na ng episode to. Gusto kong bumili itong si ANS. But, at the moment, I'm not sure. I wouldn't recommend buying this company. Kasi nga, hindi siya kumikita currently. But, nagbigay pa na ng dividend. So, a bit weird. So, kung meron nakakaalam, kung ano yung reasoning behind this. Hindi ko rin kasi masyadong research. Kung bakit sila nakapagbigay ng dividends. Siguro, mga dati pang kinita. Mga natira pang kinita previous years. But, yeah, anyway. Yun na. Parang gusto kong ihalin tulad ito dun sa nangyari sa Lotto, di ba? Sobrang nag-plummet yung prices kasi nga the past years, the last couple of years, hindi sila kumikita and then nagbibigay ng weirdong dividends. So yeah, yun lang yung 2 cents ko on the stock. But yeah, magbibigay sila ng dividends. Mga holders ng ANS, good for you. Bibigay sila ng 50 centavos per share this year. So yeah, ex-date is March 12. Next up is si Maxis Group Incorporated. Hindi rin sila kumikita masyado last year. 981 million pesos yung lugi nila for 3 quarters ng 2020. So most likely hindi sila makapagbigay ng dividends this year. CLI, Cebu Landmasters Incorporated. 1.6 billion pesos yung kinita nila. So, hindi masyado nalalayo sa kinita noong 2019, 1.9 billion pesos. So, most likely, they will give out dividends this year. So, late naman sila nag-announce ng dividends, no? So, last week pa ng March, usually, yung ex-date nila. So, expect na lang natin yan later on pagka nag-progress yung month. And we are on our last stock, SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Ito medyo stagnant din yung binibigay nilang dividends, no? But ayun, ang laki nung nawala na income sa SMC last year. But that's fine. It's San Miguel, no? 10.7 billion pesos yung kinita pa rin nila kahit papano, kahit may pandemic last year. And maganda kasing ginagawa nila, hindi nila like tinatanggal yung mga workers nila. Kasi nga alam nila na kapag bumalik sa quote-unquote normal, kailangan nila yung mga empleyado na yun, no, para mag-work yung businesses nila. So yeah, props sa San Miguel for not letting go a lot of their employees kahit na may pandemic. And yeah, kino-continue nilang they're continually supporting them, kahit na hindi sila masyado nakapagtrabaho. So yeah, that's very good. That's a good move for them. But ayun, bottom line, 39.6 billion pesos yung kinita nila noong 2019. But yeah, understandable na medyo down sila last year. And ito, katulad ng GSMI, quarterly sila nagbibigay and sabi ko nga sa inyo, medyo stagnant. So, 35 centavos per share every quarter yung binibigay nila. Although, yeah, consistent siya. I would rather hold, or kung gusto niyo ng mas mataas na dividend yield, bibili na ako ng mga preferred stocks ni San Miguel, no? And doon ako mag-i-invest. Lalo na kapag may nag-IPO para yung base price lang yung makuha nyo. So, for example, yung mga preferred stocks naman ni San Miguel is always 75 pesos per share yung base price. So, kung makabili kayo at that price point, it's a steal. And yeah, maganda yung dividends na binibigay nila. Pero syempre, I'm not saying na hindi maganda i-hold si San Miguel Corporation kasi meron din ako nito. But yung main thing ko na lang with San Miguel is, to shoot up the prices and then siguro i-bend after 10-20 years. Siguro malaking pera na rin yun at that time. Alright, home stretch. So we are heading towards the end of this episode. Yung sources natin for today is PSC Edge, BPI Trade, a photo from Unsplash, and GP. Lahat ng mga links niyan is matatagpuan sa description sa baba. And now, before we end, meron tayong quote of the day galing kay Gary Vaynerchuk. So maganda to, no? Nobody knows what they're doing in the beginning. That's the best part of doing instead of learning. So yeah. Syempre, kailangan natin mag-research muna, no? Mag-aral ng konti bago tayo mag-dive sa isang bagay na gusto natin gawin. But most of the time, masyado tayo nag-overthink and nag-dwell tayo na, baka may mangyaring ganito, may mangyaring ganyan, baka mag-fail ako, baka hindi ako mag-succeed, blah blah blah. But yeah, just do it. Sabi nga ng Nike, you're just wasting time kapag nagtitinker ka pa kung gagawin mo ba talaga ito. But kung gusto mo naman talaga isang bagay, just do it. I-try mo lang and para matest mo yung waters and maintindihan mo na you're gonna figure it out, pagka ginawa mo siya ng ginawa. Instead of reading books and all that. I'm not saying na hindi maganda yun, no? Yung pagbabasa and all that. But isang example niyan is pagdadrive, no? Sige, pwede ka manood ng maraming videos, pwede ka magbasa ng maraming tutorials kung paano mag-drive, but you wouldn't really learn unless you do it. Unless you try it out. Ayun guys, end na natin yung episode here. Sana may natutunan kayo and if umabot kayo at the end of this episode, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And kung di nyo alam, twice a week ako nag-upload ng mga videos similar to this. So subscribe ka na and ring the notification bell para wala kang ma-miss out. Syempre, wag mong kalimutan i-smash yung like button. Sobrang nakakatulong nun sa algorithm ni YouTube. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Stay safe. I'll see you all on Monday. Always remember, be Peso Smart.
Let's go!